everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of E-Charcha. This episode is very, very special because I have my mentor with us. So somebody who has changed my life completely is there with you to share his views and how you could transform your life. So our guest for today is Mr. Avinash Anand Singh, who's a globally renowned transformational life coach. He's a master and genius in law of attraction, and he's also an official member of Forbes Coaches Council. He has conducted trainings for many top companies like Forbes Marshalls, Hero Steel, and many more. So I welcome you, Avinash, to this session of E-Charcha.
Thank you so much, Rachna. Pleasure to be here. And I'm so grateful that you have given the opportunity for me to come and speak to your people, your community, in fact.
Our pleasure to have you here. Avinash, can you please tell our this community of millennials something more about yourself? They're all very keen to know.
Okay, perfect. So look, though obviously all that thing you spoke in the CV, in the resume, right? But for me, I have been a very kind of curious and passionate person, wanting to understand life and understand what it takes to live a fulfilling life, right? For me, that has been a kind of a quest inside me. And that's why, irrespective of what kind of education I went through and the kind of marks which I got, right? I was not a very brilliant student in a class, but just managed to get passing marks. But for me, it was more important to understand that is the world divided into people who are born gifted, or we all have those qualities inside which we are not able to tap. So for me, a life journey has been revolving around from last at least say 15 years, revolving around actively understanding, searching, learning, and applying those concepts which I come across. The concepts which we think that has the ability, the possibility to change our life. You know? So this is what has been for me from my childhood. And I think when I came to Pune for my graduation, I came across a couple of books and then the post-graduation. And after post-graduation, things started changing. When I started applying those concepts, I think that's when I really saw the power this has. No? So again, to summarize, I'm a very ordinary guy, and we feel we all are ordinary, but same time we all are unique as well, because the universe is so much in variety, and it creates so much of uniqueness. So I feel I'm a very normal person, but same time there is a unique gift which I have, which is true for everybody. And for me, a life journey is about discovering that uniqueness and how do we develop it and offer to the world. That's what the purpose has been.
Great. So you did your MBA from Pune, and then I think after that you did not take up any job or campus placements. So what inspired you to completely change your line of work and get into this life coaching in this area?
So when I passed my post-graduation, I was lucky to be in a campus which was very kind of a different kind of campus. It was not a normal 9 to 6 MBA. It was run by Professor M.S. Pillai, who was the founder of SMHRD Symbiosis. And this campus was a very unique campus where we have to work for like 14 hours per day, 7 days a week for 2 years completely. So there's no off as such, and throughout the day you engage in certain activities. So this place gave me kind of it was kind of a push I wanted from outside, which will focus me in one direction for me to maybe discover what I have within. Sometimes we need the external push. So when that happened, and from a backbencher, I happened to become the best of the batch, getting a lakh rupees cash prize, having some job offers, and very good networking in corporates, meeting top CEOs and HRs as a part of the placement team. So for me, it was kind of a shift inside me at a quantifiable level, at an external level, right? And when this happened, so I took a commitment that no, I'll only take placements once my batch is placed, my own batch. And when the convocation happened, the batch was placed, and I was exploring now that where do I go for a job? Which company should I take it? I had some good contacts, some good offers were there. That's when my professor asked me that, do you want to work in the campus for maybe a couple of years? You are very good in networking, in corporate sales, you have a good network established already in the second year with top companies. So do you want to stay back in the campus, and can you help the campus to build up? And I completely believe in the soul of the campus, what they were doing. And in fact, the entire campus was set up by alumni from Symbiosis, and a lot of different batch alumni were doing the work there. So it was an alumni-driven campus. So I took a call, I said, let's go for it. So 3 years I spent in the campus. I was handling primarily the corporate relations, meeting top people, doing that, sales and all. But same time, a good thing happened. I used to spend a lot of time, because I was to stay in the hostel. I'd be getting a lot of time to interact with these kids, who comes from an average background, may not have that confidence. And when I used to work with some of them, and the tools which I picked up to rewire myself, my brain, my mindset, when I gave to them, I saw that even they got very good results, right? They had amazing changes happening. And this time also gave me a lot of time to even study more in neuroscience, learning tools like NLP, which primarily, kind of assured me that, okay, this is a very scientific process which can help people transform and get results. So 3 years being in the campus, every year the best of the batch or the highest placement was coming from the lot I was training in. So I had a complete kind of a feedback also coming in that, okay, what you're doing now is something amazing. That gave me a lot of joy inside. I started enjoying the game. So that's when 3-4 years down the line, I said, now do I go? I'm good. I'm happy with doing the work now here. What next? Should I go to the company? And I could have got in any company in terms of people who are looking for sales guy. But then I said, okay, but what if I start something on my own? What if I start following my own passion? And there are all kind of fear for sure, anxiety and inhibitions. But I think somehow I took the plunge of starting, and 2014 I started. And as I started going ahead, I think I had this innate feeling inside that this is what you are meant to do here in this world. But there's a very strong sense of comfort and enjoyment and joy, as if when you are outside the house, how do you feel? But when you're back to the house, you feel so comfortable. So for me, when I was doing that work, I was feeling very comfortable inside. It was like I'm in my home. And that's what I think assured the journey. And today, when I look back, I see, whatever happened was possibly the things meant to happen in the right way. Yeah.
So that's very well shared by you. So we all know, all successful people say that it is 80% of mindset and 20% of skill set, which actually gives you the desired results in life. So what is your opinion about it? How important is mindset, and especially for the millennials who are coming out these days?
Rachna, I think I may not agree with 80% mindset, 20% skill, because look, you can see a lot of people having tremendous mindset in terms of they have the knowledge, they have the ideas, they have the thought process, but what they possibly miss on the skill part, on execution part, on doing things, right? We have seen people, they are very positive, they have amazing kind of thought process, they have amazing ideas, but what about having execute those ideas? And there is a question mark. So I think it goes in a fine balance between a mindset, between a skill set, or ability to act. So I think obviously mindset, I think, is it wins the game. If you ask me what is to pick up first, I'll say first go with mindset, because you first develop a mindset which is driven. So by the way, what is a mindset? Let's understand that part. A mindset is nothing but a set of belief system, a set of thought processes which you continuously think. It gives a shape to the attitude you have. It gives you a shape of how you look in the world outside. What is your perception? So all that comes from your mind. Now, it's very important that first we have to develop a mindset which is not developed by default. For most people, their mindset is shaped by the family they're born in, and the schools they went. So a lot of people, they carry a lot of limiting beliefs inside, and which are not very empowering one. So first work is that you look in the world and ask yourself, who are the people whom I admire, who have got amazing results in the area I want to work in? And what kind of thinking these people have? what kind of thought process they carry. So if you take out 10 people like that and you start analyzing all of them by maybe reading their autobiography, listening to them, the podcast, the book, you tend to get some common points. So if you start building these as your belief system, then you are building a good mindset. But this still is borrowed knowledge. This still is not your knowledge because you have picked up from somebody else. Then the next part is that you have to go into the zone of applying things. Because sometimes what possibly has worked with somebody may not work with you. So when you apply, the action comes in picture here. When you start applying at a small scale, and then you see what is the result comes out of it. Is the result good, what I wanted, or it's not good? Based on the result, you may again have to look back to the mindset and make some changes possibly, because there's no one mindset which will take care of your entire journey. As you go into life, you have to continuously keep on upgrading your mindset as you go ahead, no? Because every different life will ask you to develop different things. So I think for me, there has to be balance. What you're learning, what you're doing, what that your system has, what I'm doing, applying and all. When the balance is met well, and when you're continuously doing, learning, applying, then again learning, then again applying, the process is going well. I think it's a very good way of reaching great height.
So you just talked about the belief system. So I have seen, during my professional career of almost 15 years and with interacting with a lot of youngsters during campus placement processes. So where, consecutive 4 5 failures or not being able to make up for the interviews, they get disappointed and then it starts becoming their belief. So how do they break this? How do they come out of
Yeah.
it?
Yes, and that's where I think, look, so what has happened is a lot of people, in fact, in our society, what mistake we have done is we have not defined certain terms in a right way. For example, now failure, what people take failure in an interview or in a work as a judgment on themselves. If I fail in my maths, I'm a failure. If I fail in an interview, I'm a failure. And that's not the right thing. Because when you fail in something, it's a set of behaviors which do not work out well. But you cannot make it a judgment on yourself, right? So people have to first define failure properly. Now, failure is nothing but it's a feedback which you receive from an external environment. So I go for a job, and suppose if the company says, no, you're not selected, now that's a feedback for me that what still I have not covered, I have not learned, I have not worked out well, which has made me achieve this failure possibly. No? So I think when you see failure as a feedback, it's like a mirror which is showing you what still you have to work on. Now, if you notice anybody in the world, right? Any person in the world, no matter which field you take in, show me one person who has not been through failure. You'd find everybody, in fact, people who have gone through more failures, possibly they end up achieving more results. So I think time for people to, and especially the millennials, to see failure as a feedback. But more importantly is, are you picking out from that failure what you have to learn? Now, if a failure happens and you don't learn from it, and you continue doing the same thing, continue not doing anything, or the same thing again, that's not the right thing. But when you take a failure, you decode the failure, you see, okay, where did I miss? What was lacking inside? What I still have not worked on? And when you do the inner work, it might be building on your communication. It might be reading a couple of books. It might be improving on certain skill set. When you do that, and then you again go back, you may end up achieving success, right? So I think for people, millennials, it's very important to define the terms very carefully. We should not be believing what others say about certain terms. You have to eventually find your own definition, because your own philosophy, your own definition would determine where would you reach in life eventually.
So true. So there is a lot of distraction actually for these millennials with the, so many things around. Lot of times we see that they do not have clarity in goals. There is no alignment in the goal setting and the actions and the thoughts that they have. So any suggestions how they can improve on this?
I think this has a lot to do with no, there are many ways to talk, and people, they all would have different kind of suggestions. For me, when I look back in my life, that what I was doing in my graduation and the times, ahead on after graduation, I see, okay, I was not utilizing the time very well. I was still caught up in the life and enjoying the new things you come across. You get a phone, bike, the top of life attracts you. But when I look back and I see right now, I see some kids who are still in that zone. They're still doing a lot of things, making use of the time very well. I think one of the very important aspect for anybody who's listening to this right now, in the young age, having a right company, building a right environment for you is the single biggest factor. What kind of people you are associating with, what kind of friend circles you have, and what these guys are behind. Are they behind creating the next big company? Are they working on an idea to make something? Is somebody making a YouTube channel? Is somebody trying to work on TikTok and build something? Is somebody wanting to write a novel? So I think what kind of people you are surrounded with. Is your friends all just want to time pass and enjoy? If that is a friend circle, you are into it and you will be possibly spending time like that. But if you can select good people around you, maybe one, two of them at least, who are somewhat focused on, on a dream, doing something, building something. And today we have many kids like that. I know people at age 18, 19, they're building podcasts, they're building YouTube channels, they're building their photography work. When you associate with such people, what happens is subconsciously you pick up a lot of things from them. And somewhere out of this entire distraction we go inside, you tend to have something to focus on because somebody next to you is also focusing on something. So we know this part. They say, you're the average of 5 people you stay with. So what is the group you are carrying? If somebody can look back and see my group, and this is true not for millennials, for everyone, even at age 50 or 40, what is your group? Because that will determine what kind of results you achieve. Having good people, they may not be the best people as of now, they may not be the greatest people, but are they people who are trying to achieve something in their life, having the right mindset? Are they spending their time properly in the right things? Even reading books possibly. If somebody can do that part, I think a lot of things can easily be done because the right company will eventually help you focus on the right thing. So I think one thing would be, many things there for sure, but one thing for me, I think, would be the company you are carrying right now with you, your environment, close environment.
Right. And does energy has a role to play here? The kind of energy that they maintain with the results that they get?
I think yes. One of the gifts of life is that at least in initial years of our life, because still you have not got married, you have not gone to job, not pressure. Unfortunately, yes, some kids may have some trauma in the childhood and they still have that sadness, depression, anxiety. But a lot of kids, I think most of them generally have a good life, and when they go ahead, there's a raw energy inside them. There's energy which is they're bubbling with. And I think a lot of people understand this very late, the value of that energy. That energy is the starting point of all change to happen. So if in the young age, we can able to manage this energy properly, because this energy will try to express itself. It's like, you see the rocket, there's a fire at the bottom. If you don't release the rocket, it destroys the rocket right now. But if you let the fire propel the rocket, it goes in the cosmos, right? Similarly, we have the energy. The millennials have the energy. Now, the choice is, what are you going to do with energy? You can spend this energy in going to pubs, into throughout the day, WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, watching YouTube videos, or roaming, talking to people, or you can take some of this energy, which is very raw energy, into creating something. And that creation is such an amazing thing. It can be, because that energy is required, and this will not be with you as you go ahead. As life hits you, when you go for a job and the pressure, and then marriage, and then all the pressure comes up, suddenly you find yourself lack of energy. So I think that's a gift we have. And if the energy can be utilized well, a lot of people can achieve a lot of results for themselves.
This is so true. So before I come to the main topic, which I'm sure all of the members of this community would not want to know how they can manifest their dream job, uh, can they attract their dream job? And can you please
I,
explain how this law of attraction is related with science?
yes. You see, so now when you say about attracting the dream job, I think you see one of the things we have to understand at a deeper level, and I hope people who are listening to this, they may have a background of this concept, law of attraction, and the concept of manifestation attraction. I think, irrespective what are you doing in your life, you're always attracting something. You're always attracting some reality for you, because you cannot not think, you cannot not feel, you cannot not believe, you cannot not speak. As you live the day, you're always having some thoughts, some emotions, some words, right? Some energy, which is emitting in the universe. And that is what continues to attract a reality for you. Now, when it comes to a dream job, no, look, I think, yes, there are a lot of things can be done, which I'll maybe share a couple of things. One important part, Rachana, which I see, what is very important, I think one very core thing which has to change first is people who are willing to have a dream job. First, they should be knowing what is the dream job. A lot of people say, no, I want to have a dream job. You ask them, okay, what is a dream job? And suddenly they have no answer, which means they have not figured out what is a dream job looks like. I don't have the clarity because you have not worked to get the clarity. How the clarity comes in? When you spend time working on it, right? Like somebody looking for a partner. Now you go and meet 50 girls, 50 boys. Eventually you'll have clarity, what kind of person I want now. No? So I think it's very important for people to spend time thinking, dwelling, contemplating what is the job they need. Because clarity itself is power. So imagine this. There's so many restaurants and you say, Rachna says, I want to eat, say, paneer bhurji, right? Where is the best paneer bhurji in Mumbai? The moment you have clarity, now you can apply ways by asking a friend, going to Zomato reviews, on Facebook. There are many, many ways opens up to help you get that place where you get the best paneer bhurji. So the first step is getting clear what a dream job looks like, defining it in terms of salary, work culture, in terms of company, and kind of profile. So when this gets clear, suddenly your mind is now having a clear image of what is that you're wanting for. And that image itself becomes powerful because this image is a very concrete manifestation of your energy in terms of one quantifiable outcome which you want to achieve. One. So most people, they don't have the clarity first. So I think first work on the clarity of what exactly you want. The second thing, once the clarity comes in, a second issue which people face is a lot of people, they don't feel themselves worthy to have this dream job. The sense is not there. I've noticed across the world, across domain, people always attract what they feel worthy of. If somebody feel, I think I'm worthy of ₹1,00,000 per month, that's your income. You cannot go beyond that. You cannot get more than what you feel worthy of. Your worthiness is the defining factor. And eventually most people, because they may have been through a difficult time, difficult life, they don't feel the worthiness to have this job or salary or whatever it might be. So then people have to work on this aspect of worthiness. Now, how do you work on this part? Think about this part. If you notice anybody living a dream job, and if you ask them, do you feel worthy of this having this job? You say, yes, you know what, in my life, I was not sure, but I felt, somewhere I had the energy and the ability to achieve that part. And I started putting the efforts. So I think people first have to start working out on the inside that do I really feel worthy of it? And sometimes worthiness comes when you start preparing for it, when you start honing your skill set, when you start really picking up extra skills after your job timings or in your school days. Everybody is just studying the syllabus. I am going beyond my syllabus, picking up more things. So sometimes our action defines our worthiness. Once you are feeling worthy, you are going to give an attempt for it. You cannot show me anybody right now who has achieved a dream job or living a very good job, doing a very good job without having a sense of worthiness. Impossible. Whereas everybody who is not happy with the job or not living the dream job, you see, they have a very low sense of worthiness mostly. So I think clarity, worthiness, and then if I talk about a tool to manifest, is that now we know a lot about brain. Now you ask me the science behind it. There's many studies done on this area. One study was on the brain. In Harvard, it was a study done from Harvard. Pascal and Leon, two scientists, they did that study.
Okay.
They took a group of people and they said first group, they were taught how to play piano using 5 fingers, right? So they said, now you play piano every day for a certain time for 5 weeks using this 5 finger. Group 1. They had a group 2. Now group 2 were showed how to play piano with 5 finger, but they were asked to play piano only mentally. They were not asked to physically touch the piano. So one group learned playing piano with 5 finger and they're practicing every day. Second group, they learned how to play with 5 finger, but only mentally. Now guess what? When the 5 weeks got over, in the first group, they saw they had some brain changes. Some different circuit was formed in the brain because they end up practicing that skill. But the group 2, the group which did not touch the piano, when they saw their brain, they noticed exactly the same brain changes. The same brain circuits were formed in that group also without even touching the piano. The brain went through the same change. And eventually when they went to play the piano, they played exactly in the same manner as the first group. Which means just by mentally rehearsing, they're able to make changes in the brain. And that's the concept of neuroplasticity. That when you visualize something, you're making some brain changes. So how do you use this? People, once they have clarity and they feel worthiness, can you start spending time in visualizing yourself in the dream job, doing that work, going to the office, living that profile? Can you mentally start rehearsing that area, that thing for yourself? That will end up creating those brain circuits, and that brain circuit will make you possibly have an idea, a thought to connect with somebody, to apply in some company, and which may end up getting the result for you. Action comes for sure, then you have to start applying to those companies, make a list of those dream companies, applying them. But the idea is first clarity, worthiness, and then practicing maybe a tool like visualization to see yourself there and get this sense of belief, a strong belief that I am deserving this job. And that's when you start really coming out in the real world with the intensity, with the energy to apply, to go for it, and to reach out those companies in fact.
Very interesting. So if you
I'm
had to
giving very long answers, but I hope this becomes clear for people.
yes, you've explained it very well. So if you had to give one piece of advice to the members of this community, what would that be?
One piece of advice, I think, one of the most important part is people invest in buying car, buying houses, buying mobile, all of these stuff. I think one important part is that can you start investing on yourself? Because you see, tomorrow if nothing stays with you, right, you are going to be with yourself. Your mindset will be with you. What you have learned would be with you, right? I think this is the greatest gift we have, the ability to consciously make ourselves evolve to the next level, upgrade ourselves. So I think everybody, they should take out some time every day, amount, money, energy, make a budget for it, and consistently invest in self-development, which not only means attending like personal development courses, but learning new skills, reading new books, having mentors, coaches, and making a plan for yourself that where you are right now, how do you go ahead? So the investing in self-development is the single biggest differentiator between people who succeed and who do not succeed.
Thank you so much, Avinash, for such an insightful session. So would you like to share your social media details in case any of the members here would want to connect with you?
Yeah, our website is still we are making a new website, so it will be out in some days. But on Facebook, YouTube, and on LinkedIn, I'm with the username Avinash Anand Singh. Instagram and Twitter, I'm with coach_Avinash. These two handles, and you'll find. Just put the name, you'll find. I have been putting a lot of content, so you'll find on Google all these places. Today it's really easy to find everybody, no? Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming workshops for the millennials here, which could be of use to them?
Uh, Not specifically for millennials, but it's for anyone who is willing to rewrite their financial beliefs. So we're having a financial healing workshop in which we go through the aspects of changing your subconscious programs about money, about success, about work. And then we're also having short courses as of now because the classroom is not happening. On weekends, on law of attraction, a 5-hour program, a creative visualization, the visualization thing we talked about, a 5-hour module on a Sunday, right? So these few courses are upcoming in next 1 or 2 weeks time. So people, if they want, they can inquire about those programs.
Sure. So I'll be posting a link along with this video. So in case any of you are interested to enroll for the upcoming financial healing workshop, you can register through that link and go ahead with that workshop. Once again, I would like to thank you so much for giving your time and recording this interview for our community from all of us here. Thank you so much. Signing off. Thanks a lot.
Rachna, my pleasure and my wishes to you. You have come a long way, and I can see now you are going to rock this year, coming year. So I think you have really tapped your potential, and I think you have gone a zone of possibilities now. So wishing you all the best, your members, with great success this year and coming year. God bless you.
Thank you so much. And I give all the credits to you because whatever changes that I have witnessed in the past 1 year, it's all because of the learnings that I have got from you. So thanks a
And
lot.
you applied those learnings. You applied. You were an implementer. You have applied a lot of stuff. So you have seen changes for yourself. God bless you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Pleasure. God bless. Take care.